How did Scarlett get such an insane WTL win rate? Is Sue back? And which state in America first declared Christmas a national holiday? All of these questions will be answered in today's episode of StarCraft Today.
StarCraft Today.
Your favorite StarCraft news show. The second week of the GSL has come and delivered some, well, rather odd results. Starting in Group B, consisting of Beyond Bunny, Sue and Zest. Ever since Sue returned from the military in March, he's posted a string of impressive results. But I don't think many people expected him to put up much of a fight in a group this stacked. It's our first game of the group. We had Zest versus Sue, and that started off with a double Stargate Phoenix opener out of Zest. But Sue quickly took back control of the game after a 6-minute bailing bust hit Zest in the natural, netting himself about 10 probe kills and forcing the Phoenixes to come home. Sue used this lead to reach 80 drones, research +2 melee and bailing speed, move across the map with a maxed out Zerg army. Despite Zest's best defensive efforts, the Protoss player could not hold against the onslaught of Zerg units. 1-0. In the second game, we saw Zest opening up with a Glaive Adept attack after Oracle that didn't really work out. Luckily for Zest, Sue didn't drone up quite fast enough and also didn't prepare for the follow-up carrier attack, which the Zerg had really nothing to deal with. This led us into an Archon Zealot carrier Void Ray push, which Sue didn't quite have sufficient tech for and thus eventually faltered under the never-ending pressure from Zest. 1-1. In Game 3, the Protoss player decided to open up with a 4-gate Glaive opener with a Prism. Or well, the Prism was there temporarily, but Sue managed to snipe it quickly with his queens, and that turned a Glaive push with a Prism into a Glaive push without a Prism. And let me tell you, the ones with a Prism are a lot more scary. Zest gets cleaned up and tries to follow it up with an Adept Disruptor attack from 2-base, but as Sue has plenty of unit, it feels like Zest is just hitting his head into a wall repeatedly at very high force. After Zest tries a second time and gets crushed a second time, the Toss decides to tap out and Sue wins his first series, 2-1. This fun and entertaining PvZ gets followed up by a Terran versus Terran, which atypically only lasted for 22 minutes or so in total. Fast, high-paced, aggressive games give Bunny a 2-1 win over Beyond. That wasn't the only short series today, as in the winners match we saw Bunny popping off once more, this time versus Sue in 2 10-minute games. This meant that Bunny ended up advancing in his GSL group with around 45 minutes of playtime total, a pretty impressive feat. In the losers match we saw Beyond make short work of Zest, as in 2 semi-macro games Beyond's army control was good enough to secure wins from situations where most other Terrans probably would have been unsuccessful. This led us to a Sue versus Beyond standoff in the final match for Group B. Winner advances on to the round of 10 and the loser, well, he goes home. In Game 1, Beyond opened up with a mech build, foregoing his much preferred bio and switching it up. Sue didn't seem as surprised as the majority of the audience was and easily dismantled the 3-base timing attack that Beyond went for. Sue's counterattack was a bit too much for the Terran, and just like that, the score was 1-0 in favor of Sue. In Game 2, Beyond decided to proxy 3 barracks in the middle of the map, and as the Zerg response was slightly suboptimal, Sue could do nothing but tap out after a mere 3 minutes and 21 seconds. 1-1. The final game of Group B was to be played on Berlingrad, and Beyond decided to copy Bunny's strategy versus Sue on this exact map from the earlier series that they played. Sadly for Beyond, Sue went with a Roach defense, which is considered to be a bit of a hard counter to most 2-base aggression builds. As a result, Beyond gets cleaned up and is forced to play a scuffed macro game. He gets in a decent amount of damage and forces the all-in counter attack out of Sue. And Sue, with a massive Ravager count, manages to barely break the Terran defense and win the game, giving Sue the final spot, advancing on to the round of 10 from Group B. Group C played out in a more predictable way, as Zaun and Dark were the clear favorites in this group. Zaun managed to take out Dark in an exciting best of 3 in the winners match, and it meant that Dark was forced to fight in the final match of Group C to secure the spot in the round of 10. Dark did struggle a little with Armani in the final match, as Armani managed to take a game and forced a map 3. In that game 3, Dark played an absolutely insane Ling Bane all-in, but with some solid micro and relentless Ling reinforcements, the former world champion presided over Armani and qualified for the round of 10. The fact that Dark went for such an aggressive, all-in strategy in the final game just shows how big his balls truly are. With GSL behind us, let's move over to the World Team League, where we had an exciting week ahead of us with 5 teams rocking a 5-1 overall score. Round 7 started on day 1 with the Guangdong Freaks versus Team GP. An important match for Team GP as, if they would win this, they could perhaps connect back with the top part of the bracket. Sadly for GP, that wasn't quite the case. The strap was too strong for Riyang in the ace match and delivered Guangdong Freaks the win, as well as 2 extra points, while Team GP was left with just a single point. Kaisi versus GGG. Kaisi once again showed complete dominance. Dream was the only GGG member to take a map, and that means a 5-1 win for Kaisi Gaming. On the second day of round 7 we had 2 rather one-sided matches. SSLT versus Alpha X turned into a 5-1 beatdown, as Firefly once again was the only player capable of taking a map. Firefly definitely a player that is better than the others, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets picked up by a different team at the end of the season, or maybe even a bit later in this season. So yeah, Alpha X managed to win 5-1, which is important because TL also managed to easily dismantle Platinum Heroes. Clem dealing the final blow as he 2-0'd Rodzin, and with that win TL now is on a 2-5 score total, winning the last 2 Clan Wars that they played. The final day of round 7 started with Shopify versus Team Envy, an important match for the top of the table. And here once again we saw the Shopify superstar perform. And no, I'm not talking about Bian, who tends to be the Shopify ace, but I'm talking about Scarlett. Scarlett managed to win her match with a 2-0 score versus Creator, last season's GSL runner-up. This put Scarlett at a 13-1 score this season, only dropping a single map over 7 rounds. And that loss was to Raynor, who she also took a map off. So honestly, not something to be super embarrassed about, losing a map to Raynor. It is quite interesting that her individual performances in the DreamHack Masters NA weren't as great. She got 3rd place in the North American region, while in a way more competitive field like the WTL, which is global competition, she's outperforming people like Dark, Hero, Bian and Raynor when it comes to win percentage, as well as overall maps won. An absolutely crazy little fact. Anyway, I digress. Scarlett's 2-0 win over Creator got Shopify a 4-2 win over Team Envy, as both Dian as well as Harstem managed to win at least 1 map against DRG and Bunny respectively. So Shopify with the 4-2 win over Envy is important, and in the final Clan War of the week, Psystorm caused a major upset by taking out Dragon Phoenix Gaming in the ace match. MaxPax with his insane PvP destroyed Hero on the final map, securing the victory for Psystorm. That now means that Shopify is the current number 1 position in the World Team League, and in the battle for a playoff spot, Psystorm dealt a huge blow to Liquid, as Liquid is still trailing Psystorm by 4 points for that playoff spot. That is it for this week in the WTL, but as always, we had 3 ESL Open Cups, starting on the Sunday in Korea. And for the 2nd week in a row, we saw Bian take out the Protoss 3-2 in the finals over in Korea. Last week it was Hero, this week it was Creator in a fantastic series, which included this week's Game of the Week. On the final map with everything on the line, on Pride of Altaris of all maps, Bian showed a masterclass in how to beat Protoss in the late game. Turrets, Liberators and Ghosts seemed to be the answer, and of course some fantastic micro to boot as well. So Bian with a 3-2 victory in Korea over Creator. In Europe, we saw a Protoss Raynor tear up the bracket, 2-0ing Showtime in PvP, beating Hero Marine 2-1 in Protoss versus Terran, but eventually falling to Clem in the finals. The French Terran was a little bit too smart and strong and took home another ESL Open Cup win with a 3-1 victory. In America, Bian attempted the double but fell short to MaxPax in the final match. Bian's pattern of winning with 3-2 got broken, as it was the young Dane who took the 3-2 win this time around. Congratulations to all the winners, and I'm looking forward to see what next week has in store. That brings us to this week's clip of the week, where we have Kiwian pulling the oldest trick in the book to get a cheap win that he didn't deserve.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Yes! Yes! What? What?
And after that clip of the week, we only have one question left to answer. What US state was the first one to declare Christmas a national holiday? The celebration of modern Christmas, with traditions of decorating trees, singing carols and giving gifts, has its roots in the South. In 1836, Alabama reportedly became the first to make Christmas a state holiday, according to the History Channel, followed by Louisiana and Arkansas in 1838. Although no records have been found to support those dates, they are repeated in numerous online sources and are generally accepted by historians. No source for this. The legislation allowed residents to take off work for the day without repercussion to spend time with family and friends. And with that completely useless fact that you will never use in your life, we will end today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this episode of StarCraft Today. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the comment, smash the bell, and hit the gong. And we will see you next week for more StarCraft Today. Thank you, and bye-bye.